So a viewer from Hermantown wants to know whether there's going to be any action on property tax issues. This viewer is concerned about the possibility of a bill to freeze property tax for seniors as a possibility, or perhaps some other property tax reform. Anybody have anything to share with our viewers about property taxes?
I'll begin. I'm not aware of the freezing for seniors. That may be somewhere, maybe in the Senate, for example. I've not heard that. I have had quite a few discussions. My district is very rural. We have a lot of farmland, and there have been some issues with schools trying to do levies for improvements. And the challenge is that right now ag land is really carrying the large sum burden of that. In Swift County, it was estimated for the Benson School District that agriculture was going to account for 80% of the referendum cost, which makes it difficult. So I have worked with Representative Steve Drazkowski, who's the chair of property tax. Some of us have worked with him with some alternatives, and I know in the House and in the Senate, in the conference committee at this time, which is where it's sitting, there's sort of a compromise position where ordinarily it's house, garage, plus all the acres that are included in capital improvement levies, and it will be house, garage, half the acres, and the state will fund the other half into that as to soften it a little bit. I don't think it's a permanent fix or a long-term. You know, I really believe property tax is going to become a big issue for rural Minnesota in the coming years. But this is,
and for everyone, I think for all of us, the property tax is probably our least favorite tax because it has the possibility of being so unfair based on where you happen to be living. But I think it leads us into the discussion of what we really can do. It sounds as though there's money on the table this year with $900 million, but a tax cut has the same effect in next year's budget as spending does. And so we have to be very careful about both. What is a sustainable amount for both tax cuts and new spending in the base that we can do? Some people might think we can actually spend or cut taxes to the tune of $900 million, but if we did that, the effect next year would double, and so that would be 1.8, and we would be right back into deficit spending. So we have to be so careful about determining what's the sustainable amount we can do this year for both tax cuts and new spending.
I also think both House and Senate had tax bills last year, and we didn't come to an agreement on it, and nothing passed. This year, I think both houses are expecting and hoping there's going to be a tax bill, but there's still so many disagreements, and session is now almost half over. I think we'll know in about 2 or 3 weeks if there's going to be a tax bill, and if it's just a few bare bones things, little tiny things, or if it's going to address in a bigger picture property taxes and other tax issues. But I'd still say there's about a 50-50 chance there will be a tax bill, and whether it's going to be a big one, I don't think it's going to be a huge bill.
Our side's been looking at, referencing the seniors. I don't recall anything on senior property tax freezing, if you will. We certainly, at least on our side, have been working on the Social Security benefit being taxed and trying to wean that taxation off over a period of years. In my particular city, the business property tax is a great it's a great concern. 30% of most tax bills. Businesses across Minnesota go to the statewide business property tax, and so I'm of the flavor, at least, that we ought to leave those property taxes to local governments, school districts, city, county, and so on.
And while we're on the subject of seniors, the emerging issue is the lack of senior housing. For some seniors over 55, it's the fastest growing demographic over age 55. And it's the fastest growing group of homeless people because options for housing aren't there. Some seniors with incomes of $10,000, $20,000 a year, there's nothing on the market. And so in our approach to housing for those who are homeless, this year we're hoping to add senior housing as one of those qualifying uses. And the interesting thing is, if we tackle the issue of senior housing, we can sometimes help the workforce housing issue around the state too. In the case of Red Wing, the gentleman from Red Wing who visited me said There are 6,000 people who work in Red Wing but can't find affordable housing there. If they could build senior housing in Red Wing, all of those seniors would move out of their houses and into what would be more probably accessible and appropriate housing, and that would free up affordable housing in that town for some of those workers to move in. So sometimes the solutions that you put on the table can solve a couple of problems.